Hello sports lovers, welcome to Med Sports TV. In today's episode, we are privileged to have Dr. Henry Manley Spain, the aspiring president of the Ghana Boxing Authority. He is currently the first vice president of the Ghana Boxing Authority. Before we get into it, kindly subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share so others can enjoy. Thank you. Dr. Spain, welcome to Med Sports TV.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Spain. We know the main reason why we are doing this interview is to know your aspiration and what you are going to do when you become the Ghana Boxing Authority president. But normally we would have to know your background, where we are coming from, so that people who are watching, delegates, would see that they have a credible candidate. My first question would be, who is Henry Manley Spain? Where were you born? Where did you school?
Well, Henry Manley Spain, it's a young man. A young man, actually born
with a lot of experience.
Well, that's good. Born in Cape Coast.
Okay.
Started schooling in Cape Coast, Philip Kweko Boys School. And then continued here at the experimental school at Newtown, Accra, Newtown. Kwame Nkrumah Experimental School in Accra, Newtown.
Okay.
I grew up in Kolegono.
Okay.
Which is near Kolibu. And went back to secondary school in the Cape Coast.
Which school?
Queen's College. It's a private institution. And from there, I had my first employment with Ghana Customs and ICONZ.
Okay. Right. Now, after that, after Customs, you traveled. Why did you leave Ghana Customs? Because it was a lucrative job at that time. You left for other exploits.
Well, that is very true. But you know, as a young man, you wanted to achieve the ultimate that you see ahead of you, that you feel you should be able to achieve in life. You know, hustling with me, it's something that I enjoy, because I started business very early. Even whilst working with Customs, I was also doing business.
Okay. With
my wife, and we still continue to do business. But I departed the shores of Ghana in 1979 with my wife, and the rest has been history in the U.S.
Okay, when you went to the U.S., it's on record that you set up travel and tours that were helping Ghanaians, especially boxers, which would come to you. How was it like? How was the whole setup?
Well, the setup was great. I established the first Ghanaian travel agency called Parliament Travel in New York, which was right opposite Macy's, really between 34th Street and on 6th Avenue. So I was really in a very prime location. I also started tourism into Ghana, bringing in the Americans. I was the first to start bringing in the Americans in the early part of 80s. I was chartering Ghana Airways from UK when I started my business, the tourism business. And our first trip here into Ghana, I brought in over 200 passengers, boarding British Airways to UK and then connecting Ghana Airways, chartered Ghana Airways from London to Accra. So the history of tourism into Ghana was actually started by me.
Okay. Was that when you developed your love for boxing?
Well, I had always loved boxing. I had always loved soccer. But my greatest joy was boxing, just because I love fights. I love all kind of fights, street fight, boxing itself. I grew up in a very tough area, Kolegono, And with Polygonal, you really had to prove yourself if you are really, a man.
Okay, so what convinced you to officially enter into the boxing industry? What really, now you are not going to be the guy who welcomes boxers, who creates facilities for them, but you are now an industry player.
Well, what actually fascinated me the most was, as I indicated earlier some time ago, football has been my number one choice. And I was the first goalkeeper for great Facos. Each and every person knows Abedis and the others, all came up from that team. But I was the first goalkeeper for that team in the early 60s. My last time in the Colts, which I do remember very well, was when you might hear people saying that Olympics played a team from, I believe, Madagascar or so, and they played 13 against 11. We played a curtain raiser. Facos played a curtain raiser with Bold Eagles at the stadium there, and that was my last match I do remember. But beyond that, my interest coming into boxing, I've watched Ghana football for quite a while, whilst even when I was in the US. I realized the fact that I became disgruntled with the way the matches were going. You realize that the referees weren't doing justice to some of the matches. So it actually made me lose interest in soccer. And I diverted into a full-time boxing, person.
Okay. Now you are an industry player. So what specific role? Were you a promoter, a manager, a matchmaker? What role did you play as a boxing?
I managed IT Powers. He was my first boxer that I managed initially.
Okay.
When I came back to Ghana in 2000.
Okay.
And besides IT Powers, I think I also managed Atajata, that's Steven Okan, and a couple of them.
Okay.
Trying to move them on, because I realized that most of these boxers are Ghana guys. Ghana meaning they come from Accra and they need assistance. And I realized also that the potentials were there in them, and therefore, if they could have a support, they would have reached the ultimate, I call it. They might perhaps win the world title someday to come. So I supported them as much as I wanted, and I think that became history. But besides that, also, I got to a full-time promotion right after the management of those guys. I got into full-time promotion. First of all, I was on the board as an executive member of the Ghana Boxing Authority, and I decided to do promotions, but not to conflict with my position as an executive member of the board. I channeled my interest through a friend who is
Golden Mike.
Golden Mike, and through Golden Mike I did all the promotions that we heard about, inclusive with Banku and others. In fact, I had 8 solid boxers that I managed.
Speaking of Banku, you elevated him through the world. So when he wasn't ranked on the world rankings, we brought him through the 15th position, right to about first 3 positions on various rankings. How was that journey like? Because it's not an easy journey coming from Accra, Ghana. Unless someone does not know boxing very well, the Americans, the Europeans, and the Spanish guys are rated ahead of Africans. So how was that journey like?
It wasn't that easy per se, but I do have a gift of supporting a potential boxer. And that gift, I saw that in Banku, even though at that time, Banku had an eye problem. But knowing some of Banku's fights, I knew that should he had his eyes, maintained for him, he should be able to do great exploit. And I took the chance. In fact, right here, when I had some friends with me, inclusive with Golden Mike, my friend Mr. Okain, and I said, look, I think we'll have to pick Banku to, I realized if we put an effort into Banku, we should be able to pick the title. And they were actually in doubt. But I said, look, Banku does have something in him, and my feeling is telling me that if we are able to handle Banku and groom Banku through the ranks, we should be able to pick the world title. So the first step for us was to make sure that we take him through the medical process in checking his eyes, that if something could be done with his eyes. Unfortunately, we were grateful to come. In fact, my sister recommended one Mr. Chempon, who was then at the Jowulu area, had a medical, eye clinic right there at Jowulu. So we met with him. This is somebody who actually trained in the UK for so many years. So we took Banku in, checked on Banku's eyes, and said, oh yeah, well, he could definitely work on Banku's eyes with no problem. In fact, we panicked a little because we know in boxing, it might have been a problem. And he did wonders. He did, have the edge in fixing Banku's eyes to see and to fight. Right after that, I do know that I had to put Banku in the ratings within a period of 2 years, because Banku had already grown by age, and I realized that Banku did not have enough time left in him. So that is where we started. He was actually not even rated, totally not rated. So we gambled and sought out the first person, actually the 14th ranked person. I can't remember the names now, but they came on board because they did not know Banku, and Banku fought, won, picked the ratings, the position right from there, and that's how we were able to climb within a period of 2 years, placing Banku into number 2 on WBO, number 1 IBF. WBC was number 3 within a period of 2 years.
Okay. Now let's come to your role on the executive board. You are the first vice president. What policy or legislation or have you influenced personally, and have you seen manifest whilst serving on the board for the last 4 years?
Well, serving on the board is a very collective thing for the people on the board. The whole thing, the Ghana Boxing Authority, it's just a body, a regulatory body. There's nothing much that we can do. You leave the rest to the promoters, the managers, the coaches. But at the same period of time, me, for one, with my interest in boxing, there were some visitations that I made personally to make sure that we're picking up some good boxers, to give us, the GBA, some sort of a good recognition. Fortunately, under this administration, which is Swane's administration, I think we did very great. There were so many fights that we did, roughly about 18 fights within that period of 1 year or so, 18 plus. We also was able to provide 3 champions, Dogbe, Kome, and
Game Boy.
What many people do not know, Game Boy was one of my earlier boxes. I was the one that promoted, had Game Boy fight his first title here in Ghana.
Oh, okay. That's also a plus on your CV.
You know?
So the man is pouring out what he has contributed to Ghana boxing. So delegates, if you are listening and you are pleased when you go, you know what to do.
That is it.
Okay. So if the delegates give you the mandate, what are the things you will do in your individual capacity or your administration will do to reform or take off from Peter Zoenes?
Peter did. Under Peter, we were able to, as I indicated earlier, we were able to pick 3 champions for for Ghana, and I think under my administration, should I be chosen, I'm looking at another 3, within a period of 4 years. Okay. 3, if possible, the 4, but I'm gambling on the 3, and I look forward in being picked for the position. In the other issues concerning GBA, it's especially the regions, the regions on funding, the secretariat that we need to have. First of all, I need us to obtain the secretariat, you call it. A full building like this is, or like the GFA's building, where we can fully operate. Where we are at the moment, it's just a small leeway, a small office. It could be someone's kitchen. And I do not think that befits the GBA with all the accreditations and all these, champions that we have produced in Ghana. For us to be in such a size of a kitchen, it's a worrying issue to me. That is why I'm demanding the secretariat. It's my number 1 agenda, because to operate and to produce quality boxes, 1, we need an office which is really operable, an office where even when people walk in, they realize that, well, this is a fashionable institution. That is 1. 2, the establishment of the GBA TV, which is also dear to my heart, because I foresee that it's the one that will bring in revenue to the GBA. The GBA is somehow not well taken care of by government, because government feels that it's a professional body by itself, and therefore the boxers should be able to take care of themselves, or the organization should be able to take care of the boxers. But it's a really tough situation, and I do believe that if we are able to put up something that could bring in a revenue, we'll be able to assist them more. 1, the insurance for the retired boxers, insurance for some of the boxers that we realize that they're almost getting out of boxing. And insurance is not something that you pay once and that is it. It's a continued payment of process. So monies have to come in. With the GBA TV, we should be able to have some funding due, which will be due to us in terms of advertising on the programs that we put up. And therefore, we should be able also to take care of some of the coaches, also inclusive with equipment for the gyms, which is something that I'm actually looking forward to do.
Okay. Speaking of the secretariat, do you intend to build it? Do you intend to rent it? And how do you intend to fund it?
We won't be able to rent. Not at all. We can rent. And if we are renting, for how long can we rent? Rental are very expensive. But what I do know is that I've gone around for the past years, roughly over 4, 6 years. I've gone around and spotted some government buildings that are left alone,
Okay.
sitting, so-called dilapidated buildings. If we can have one of them, we will be able to, when it comes to upgrading those buildings, I have no problem at all, because I'm into construction. So definitely I will be able to bring up the standard of that building to benefit us the most.
Okay. With the follow-up on the insurance, will the insurance package be deducted from the purchase of the boxes, or it will be generated from the GBA TV for the boxes?
It will be generated from the GBA TV. I had proposed that during my reign, I wanted every promoter who promotes a fight to buy in an insurance to cover the boxes and the fight that they are going to promote itself. So should in case there would have been rain, and the fight might not be able to come on, at least you have insurance covering the fight. You had not lost money right there. You will never lose money. Or you do have a boxer. This is a very high level contact sport, boxing is, and a boxer gets hit, may God forbid, might not be able to fight again. At least your insurance that you buy.
Just about 2 months ago, a boxer from Pakistan lost his
life. So
even with his at the Al Assad at the amateur level, where they have bigger gloves and headgears.
So I'm looking to all of that, and I feel that the boxers needs to be covered by good insurance. The GBA should have some sort of an insurance to cover the boxers, should in case such eventualities happen, and then we can take care of the families of the boxer, for life.
Those are two exciting ideas, and I wish, if you are granted the opportunity by the delegates, you would be able to implement them. They'll be of great benefit to the sports we all love. So delegates, as you are hearing, and we are amazed or wowed by Dr. Spain's ambition, you know what to do. As we are beginning to wrap up, what do you intend to do on the falsification of identities of boxers? We know this has caused us a lot of problem in recent times. What do you intend to do in order to handle those issues?
To curtail those issues, this is not going to be my first time in boxing. I know about all of these things. Having time to speak to the boxers, the managers, the promoters, I told them point blank, and most of them does know who I am, that you can approach me, talk to me. I'm easy to be approached. You can discuss all your issues with me. I will assist you where I can. Where I cannot, I will assist. But I will never, ever take certain nonsenses that many people have done, falsification of documentations, especially like rating boxes, without the knowledge of the GBA itself, behind the scenes falsifications that I'm not going to actually tolerate. They know I know the game. They know I have contacts. I can reach anybody. I could be just contacted and be informed. Do you believe in this record that had been sent to us? Who sent you the record? I might ask. And if there's any action that we need to be taken, I will take that action with no hesitation.
Okay. Before I wrap up, one more challenge. We are hearing that some gyms are being registered just for the elections, and people are trying to do, some. Has that been drawn to your attention?
Well, we know about gyms. If you look, the situation we had, it's not that gyms were just created to have to have been registered for the votes,
election.
for the elections. No, these are gyms, especially this issue came up yesterday,
Okay.
where my opponent petitioned rather the GBA in terms of those clubs or those gyms. They had not been functioned for some time. Not that they did not exist. They are gyms not from Accra, but gyms from the other regions. Recognized gyms that they are known of. But that the sad situation had been, they had not been functioning just because they have not had the support to function. But they do have boxes. They only
They have pro boxes.
Some of them do have pro boxes as we go down the list yesterday.
Okay.
But you see, because the GBA had not been in position to assist the regions, we do not hear of them. Now, most promoters also do not know about these up and coming, bring them down to Accra to fight or even promote fights wherever they are. So because of those issues, it looks as if they were gyms that do not exist and were just created to come and vote. But I think, and that is where I come in again, because I think we really had to emphasize seriously on the regions. You know, there are very good boxers in the regions, especially getting to the northern part of the country. That is where you have the heavier weights, from middleweight up. They are there, but the support had not been there from the GBA to make sure that we bring these guys up and expose them to have the promoters go for them, or to assist them. You do know that I met the minister. I made this point to the minister, and he was actually pleased. He's willing. He said, look, I'm willing to assist. If you be going towards such an extent, fine, I'll be there for you. I might not be able to fulfill everything, but I will definitely support you in your ways. So I think there's light at the end of the tunnel in boxing.
Okay.
Should I be picked? Anyway, let me put it this way.
Okay. What are your final words to the delegates?
My final words are to the delegates. I'm not a new entrant into this game. I've been in the game for over 30-something years. Joshua, Ike, Azuma, all of them just know me. They do know me. Passed through my offices in New York. So they all knows me very well. They know my involvement in boxing before coming down here in Ghana. And then my involvement also here in Ghana. I am the only promoter here in Ghana at the time that I had been in boxing, promoting, that I had never owed a boxer the pairs that, needs to be given to them. All our contracts are honored a week before, prior to the fight. Were handed over to the GBA, and that policy is what I'm going to instill in this administration should I pick the ranks.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. We wish you all the best in the upcoming elections. We hope that the delegates shine light on your ambition. I wish you all the best. Thank you for having us at your home.
Thank you.
I'm humbled.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best once again.
Thank you. I finally wanted to say that on the balloting paper, I'm the number one on. I'm the first to pick, and I picked number one. So each and every delegate should thumbprint number one if they wanted the GBA to reach its highest, this thing that each and every one of us is looking forward to. I'm here to deliver for them. they should vote for me, which is an investing in me, and for me, they will yield the profits that it needs, which is due them. So I thank you very much for you coming, and therefore I assure them I'm not going to fail them.
So you heard it from the man himself. He is the aspiring Ghana Boxing Authority president. He is #1 on the list. He is Dr. Henry Manley Spain. If you like what he said, go there and do him the honors. Thank you for watching. Stay positive. Before I sign off, don't forget to subscribe. We like that. Please subscribe. It helps the growth of the channel, and so that we can also bring you more content. So stay positive. Au revoir. Bye bye.